Now that we've finalized our design a bit, what we want to do is create responsive screen designs. In this example, we'll be creating responsive screens for a default desktop and also a default tablet. Now, there are a few steps to accomplish this, and they're relatively simple. The first thing we want to do is we want to create our default screen. Now for responsive CSS, you're going to need to basically replicate all the content for each individual target screen. So please note you will end up with a lot of folders and a lot of layers, which will equate to a longer export time. Now what we want to do is basically group all our content and create this as our default screen. So let's go ahead and let's add the screen tag. And let's call this our desktop layout. Now, basically, this is the layout that will be rendered when we're on a desktop. And what it will do is basically use the PSD size as the actual default document size. So right now we have it at 1200. So the default screen size that it's targeting is 1200. Now let's add an additional tablet layout. So what we want to do is basically duplicate the group. And let's make this 780, or let's actually make it 700 for our target screen. And this will be tablet layout. Now the next step is basically just hide the desktop layout. This way it's not visible. And the easiest way to do this is to open up Guide Kit, and what we want to do is replace the guides on the current document. This way what we can do is have a more clear view of to exactly where our elements will be placed when we're designing our tablet screen. So what we can do is basically create two columns, and let's just hide the others. Now, because we know that our actual document size for our tablet is going to be 700, we can actually just move the guide to the 700 region. And what this will do is this will actually give us an idea as to where content should be spaced within the tablet itself. So let's go ahead and let's just modify the content. Now, if we go into the folder, you'll see that we still have our exact same folder structure, and we want this. But what we're going to do is we're going to now edit each individual page and the actual header and footer on its own. So let's just make the index page visible. Now, because our content is going to be held within this region, what we want to do is basically shift our header over. The next step, let's go ahead and let's modify the footer. Let's change the layout of the footer slightly. Now, because we're using dynamic height, where the folder is positioned is irrelevant. It's just basically what the contents of that folder is. So let's shift this up. Let's change the background size slightly. Let's actually move some of these elements. So what we want to do is we want to take the actual contents of the footer, not the background itself, and let's just slide them over a bit. Why not? Let's go with this. And let's actually just move the etched lines and the copyright. Let's just shift these down. Let's change the size of both of these lines. And let's actually just move some of these pages. Let's align it. Actually, now that I look, we should actually align the edge content with this as well. And let's just move some of these individual page links. Let's align them all. Center them all. Maybe align this to the left of the actual paragraph. Actually, no. You know what? You're the designer. You design it the way you want. Okay, so let's assume that this is the footer design that we want for our tablet. Let's just change the background again. Now, if we go back to the individual page content, let's change exactly where this title is located. Let's maybe change the size of it. There we go. Let's reposition this. This image, we want to resize this image. And let's possibly change the size of the background as well. Now it's irrelevant where we actually place our fix to change the content. Well, that's actually be at the left or right, but what we want to do is basically remargin it for the actual tablet. What this will do is cut the content here and then show the footer. So this is going to be our design for our index page. Now again, it's irrelevant where you have the footer placed. It'll basically recalculate that in the output. So let's close our folders and let's modify another page. Oops. Let's go to the About Us. So our title. Actually, I believe we made it 55 in the other, so we can make this possibly 55. Oh no, this actually fits. Let's just change the position slightly. Our content, let's align it with the About Us. Our text itself. Now you'll note that this is not paragraph text, so we cannot resize it as we would like. Basically what you're going to have to do now is re-render it actually, so we're going to have to change either the size of the content, which possibly will be faster if we just change the font size, rather than retyping all the information. And then let's just realign it. And let's change some of the icon sizes. Oh, those are individual elements. Okay, let's change both of these. Actually, let's do it all at once. So this is the button and the icon there, the button and the icon there. That's these two objects. Let's just resize them. Our text, hopefully. Okay, great. This is paragraph text. So let's just reposition our actual content. And let's assume that it might be longer. Or let's cut it here actually. Let's realign this to the left. Position this. Oops. Let's go ahead, let's just change the process. Now you can see our footer already. We're going to have to change its location just so we're able to see the additional content. So let's just do that really quick. Let's just nudge that down a bit more. Well, actually the page we should still be able to see within this region. So let's just go ahead and resize the last section of the about us. So I want the process to begin here. This image, let's change the size of it. Realign it a bit. Let's change the size of that. Let's align that. And let's change our text size. And let's align that. Let's nudge these down a bit. And let's change the background size. So what will happen is our process content will end here and the footer will begin here. So again, because we're using dynamic sizing, it's irrelevant where we actually place the individual elements as long as they're contained in folders. So let's go ahead, let's close all our folders and let's go and let's edit the last contact page. So our message, does it fit? No, it fits. Let's go with it. Okay, so let's realign our actual contact form. Okay, so let's put the form, I guess, below the actual contact information. I believe that we have some elements that are skipped or locked, yes, to the folder, so we can't drag that. So you're just going to have to unlock that first. Now let's move the form below. Let's move the map a little bit down more. And let's change the actual size of this text. Let's reposition it. And let's place where we want our actual fix to basically clear the content. So let's assume this is our contact form designed for a tablet. So what we've done in essence is we've created our target screen for our tablets and relayed out each individual element in our design. What this will do is basically give us a new design for a target screen that we've denoted, and in this case we've denoted the actual the tablet screen size for 700. Let's just actually take a look at each page again. So this is our index, this is our about us, and then this is our contact. So let's go ahead and let's export this. And let's go. Once the export is complete, we can take a look at our responsive HTML5 output. Now, once we open the page, you'll see off the bat the design looks off. This is actually reflective of our tablet layout. So if we go through some of the other pages, you'll note again this is our tablet layout. and again our tablet layout for the About Us page. You'll also see that the button, the actual text, it's a bit larger than the area. Now if we go back to our Photoshop design, you'll see that what happened within our tablet layout, what we did originally was we actually shrunk the buttons, and let's just take a look at them really quick. We changed the size of the buttons, but we didn't actually change the font size. So what we can do really quick is we can actually just respectively do this. Let's go down to 12. Oops. Or 14. Let's keep that. And let's go 14 with this text object as well. Now because we rescaled it, we don't have to worry about the visuals exactly because it will be recalculated in the output with Export Kit. Now the next basic visual error that we had was our tablet layout was basically placed on top of our desktop layout, and you'll note this really quick here. So you'll see that our tablet is on top of our desktop. Now a rule of CSS is that you have to actually define your largest screen size first. So what this will do is basically if we just move the desktop layout on top of tablet, this will actually give us the correct rendering. Now respectively, if we wanted to create another mobile layout, so let's just go ahead and do that just per se. So let's say this was targeting 280. What we would want to do is move this mobile layout under the tablet layout. This will ensure that each of your responsive designs and your target screens are rendered correctly. So let's just remove that mobile layout and let's save this. So again, we have to make sure that our desktop layout is the first folder, and then we respectively do each individual layout afterwards, going from top down. So the largest first, going down to our smallest. So if we were to re-export this again, now, once our export is complete, we can just take a look at the responsive HTML5. And you'll see that now we have our full desktop layout. And let's just go through the pages once more. So you'll see that it renders all the elements correctly. Now you might note really quick that we don't have the maps. This is because we didn't actually include it in our custom head. We should have, but we didn't. We're just actually demonstrating just the responsive design by itself. So let's go, and now let's actually change the screen size just to test the responsiveness. So our secondary was tablet. So you can see this is our tablet design. And note the footer that it actually changed the design as per our actual Photoshop PSD. There's nothing assumed in responsive layouts. What you design is what it actually uses. And you'll see that it did change the button now to reflect the new font size that we gave it. And our contact page layout. And again, we didn't add the actual script and CSS link tags, but you know, if we did, it would actually just render directly. So this is a responsive PSD design to CSS3 and HTML5 using Export Kit.